Hi, I'm Brad Frey, Music Supervisor here at AIVA Technologies, back with another update video for our online music engine. Today, we're introducing two new presets to you, the Jazz and Fantasy presets. So I'm going to do a lot less talking today and a lot more just playing some musical examples from those two presets. So without further ado, let's hop onto the platform and I'll show you some of those examples. So I'm going to start with the Jazz preset, and if you're someone who at this point in time still doesn't know where to find that, you can click Create Track. Here's all your presets, and Jazz is one of those new presets. And if you click that, click Customize Parameters, I just want to show you we've got a few ensembles here, including your kind of typical piano solos that we usually have in these presets, and also the lounge band and jazz ensemble. A lounge band is going to be kind of a small band of a typical rhythm section in jazz, your drum set, your upright bass, your keys, and then some sort of solo player on top of that. The jazz ensemble is going to be a little bit bigger. I'm going to have some extra players as well as a full string section typically. So I'm going to show you some examples of that first. Here's an example from the lounge band ensemble. Okay, so there's a nice little kind of ballad example, and then I'll show you the next one, which is from the jazz ensemble, which is going to show you some more of those strings that I was talking about earlier. Okay, so there's your jazz examples. I do want to point out to you that for both the jazz and fantasy presets, we've also introduced some new instruments into the mix, and so you may have noticed in that last track, for example, we've got an electric piano now playing the chords. So that'll be another option too for you to use in the instrumentation editing. And we've also got some new instruments in the fantasy preset, which I'll get to in a minute. So just bringing your attention to that, there's also some new instruments that come along with this. All right, so now let's get into the real beefy stuff, which is the fantasy preset. We've got a lot of new ensembles that go along with this fantasy preset, so I want to show you those first. Again, if we go to the Create Track menu, go to Fantasy, go to Customize Parameters, Instrumentation, you'll see we've got a lot here. So I'm going to start at the bottom and we're going to work our way up to the top. So basically the idea of this preset was kind of your sprawling epic fantasy movies and games where you've got these magical settings, you've got all these weird creatures and whatnot. And so we've tried to encapsulate a lot of those settings and stuff with these different musical styles. So I think you'll kind of get the idea with a lot of these. So starting off with the small tavern band, I think this will kind of speak for itself when you hear it, but has a very kind of medieval quality of your kind of ancient and more primitive type of instruments. You have a little band in the corner at the pub or the tavern playing some music while everyone congregates. So I'll show you an example of that. Okay, so as far as new instruments go, I think you probably heard we've got our lute in here. That's a new instrument. And we've also got a recorder playing the melody. And then also we've got some congas playing the drum part. So I'm going to get to that in a minute, and I'll also show you this drum grid down here as well. We'll get to that. So some new instruments there, interesting kind of sound. And from there, we'll move on to our string ensemble. I don't think I really have to explain that. It's all of your string instruments, as well as that new lute and harp and some of those other string instruments. All right, so next up is the strings and woodwinds ensemble. Okay, so that was the strings and woodwinds ensemble. Again, pretty straightforward, I think. You can sort of gather the idea of that ensemble was, I guess, if you imagine that you're a bit short and you maybe live in a grassy area with a lot of hills and trees, and there's a carriage with a wizard. All right, you get the idea. Next up, we've got the strings and chorus ensemble. Okay, so quite distinct already, I think you can tell, not just because this is in a minor key and the others were in major, but already you can sort of see the effect that these different ensembles have on the output. Next up, let's go to the symphonic orchestra example. This is it's kind of the typical ensemble that's in a lot of these presets. It's just your brass instruments, your woodwinds, your strings, and your kind of extra, your keys, your piano, your harp, etc. Okay. The last example here is of the Dragonborn ensemble. We've had a lot of fun with this one. This is going to be kind of the most epic ensemble of all of them. The difference here is, in your symphonic orchestra, as I said, you have your brass, strings, and woodwinds. With this, you have all of that, plus a choir of male and female vocalists, and a giant taiko kit. So it gets pretty crazy, and you can imagine this is sort of your dragon slaying music, if you will. So I'll play an example of this, and I think you'll get the idea. Okay, so again, I think you get the idea there. All right, so let's talk about the taikos real quick in these drums. So if you scroll down now, you'll see there's a new section of the piano roll dedicated to the percussion. And so this is just a better way to visualize the percussion. You can see we've got different icons representing the different drums of the kit. Instead of having just the kind of ambiguous MIDI notes up here, which didn't really tell you much. So hopefully this is a little better representation for now of what the drums are doing. And then, so, in the piano roll up here, if you click on a section of MIDI notes, you can change the instruments here. And that feature is currently turned off for the drums. So you can't change the drum kit for now, but that will eventually be enabled. And what you'll be able to do is switch between drum kits. And so even though the taikos are assigned right here in this preset, you could actually, in the future, if you wanted, change that to a rock drum kit. And because all of the drum kits, from the taikos to the rock kits to the jazz kit, they all share the same mapping. The way we're handling this is they're all mapped the same way, and so you will be able to freely switch between all of the different percussion kits. You could even switch this to the congas from the small tavern band ensemble if you really wanted to. So just something that's coming up in the future, and a new feature there for visualizing those drum parts. All right, so I'm just going to rapid fire through a few more updates, a few small quality of life things. First of all, there was an issue when we released the drums for the rock and pop preset where you were getting a lot of cymbal crashes, like really repetitive cymbal crashes, and so that should happen much less. Now, we're upgrading our servers, double the amount of cores, so it should be a lot better. performance-wise. So, some general improvements to the playability. The samples should sound a little more realistic. The way the instruments kind of play their articulations and whatnot. New mastering, so everything will be a bit louder and punchier, especially with that Dragonborn ensemble. Go check it out. And then quickly, some upcoming stuff that we're working on. Adding drums and percussion to all of the other presets that don't already have them. Expanding the presets in general. I think I talked about this in the last video, but just adding more ensembles, more time signatures, more harmonies, different options for you to choose for the other presets. I'm going to be adding some electronic sounds to the pop preset, get a little more of a modern sound to that. And then for now, I think that's about it. Of course, we're always just trying to improve on these presets and general usability all the time. Friendly reminder that pop and rock are now free to try. Before, you had to be a paying user to use those. So now, if you're just a free user, you can generate as many of them as you want. You just cannot download them. And I should also tell you that the jazz preset, the new jazz preset, is the same way. So you can generate an unlimited amount of jazz and rock and pop as you'd like, but you cannot download. Other than that, join our Discord server. We've got a new Discord for people to go on and share compositions, talk about AIVA, give suggestions. We've got, I think, about 150 people there now. It's a great little community, so I would highly recommend you join that. We'll put the link in the description. We've got to get all 6,000 people subscribed to us in on that Discord server, so if you're not already in there, become a cool kid and join that Discord server. Other than that, thanks for watching. If you have any feedback or suggestions, if you don't want to join the Discord server, you can just leave a comment below, or you can reach out to us at feedback@AIVA.ai and let us know what you think. Until next time, thanks for watching.